Hello, my name's Gavin, this is Genre Books, it's Tuesday, it's Tag Tuesday, and I'm a little bit scared today of what the answers might be. This is the Unread Books Tag, an original tag created by Renee at Beyond Books, and she tagged me a couple of weeks ago. There are 7 prompts, or 6 prompts and a call to action, so let's go. Prompt number 1. How many books do you presently own? Give an estimate figure if you're unsure, and how many of these are unread. I'm going to have to give an estimate figure. But I'll start with the good news. When I finish a book, I cast it into the garage, put it in a plastic box, and it goes into storage. And I will sell probably about half of those books. That, of course, does not help me with my how many are unread, because it means that the vast majority of these are unread. And how many do I have? I'm estimating about 1,700. Possibly a shade more. I've also got a couple of hundred, not in this house, but I don't know quite how many I do have there. So let's put the figure nearer 2,000. And of those 2,000, I've probably only read 500 or so. So let's say about 1,500 unread books. Prompt number 2. Do you also have ebooks, and how many are unread? This one's a bit easier because I can look on my Kindle and see how many. And it tells me 1,500. But lots of these are short stories. So I think the answer is probably closer to 1,000. And almost all of these are unread because, by and large, I will delete these once I've finished reading them. The good news with this is that of those 1,500 documents, shall we say, I've probably only paid for 20. The vast majority of the ebooks I will get from Gutenberg or the Internet Archive, somewhere like that. So I haven't paid for them. Prompt number 3. Have you ever participated in a Read What You Own challenge? Why or why not, and how did it go? Yes, I have. And the last one I participated in began last November, which is the usual Read What You Own challenge from, I think Criminoli started this, and I went for the 100 book tier. Why did I do it? I did ask myself that a number of times halfway through the challenge. But I did it because it was coming up to Christmas. I needed to stop spending money on books. The bookshelves were too crammed at the time, like they are again now. And it was time to read the shelves. Yes, I completed the challenge. Yes, it was touch and go because I had a holiday booked to go to Hay-on-Wye, which is the book capital of the UK. And there was no way I was going to go to Hay-on-Wye and not buy any books. And in a way it didn't work because I ended up in that week probably buying more books than I read during that previous 4 months, 5 months. But I enjoyed, sort of, the process of making sure that I was choosing something from my shelves. Not cheating, but I did go for some shorter books in the run-up to the end of the challenge. I think one of these challenges sound good, but 100 books is a lot of books. And you breeze through the first 20, this is great. You get to 50, halfway there, feeling pumped. you get to about 70 and you think, I've still got a lot to go. It's been a long time. I will admit, towards the end, I was picking some shorter books. And I disguised it with things like reading thinner fantasy in February. So a lot of shorter works, which meant that in February I got an awful lot read in terms of titles. I don't think I probably suffered as much as other people do because there are no new books coming out that I feel I must get. Almost exclusively everything I am reading will be something which is old. What does not help is not being able to get something for a specific Booktube event. But I think the discipline was good. I don't know whether I'm going to be doing it again this year, but I may just decide after the next week or so, no more books until the new year, to give a chance to clear the shelves a little bit more. Prompt number 4. Have you ever purchased the same book twice without knowing it, and what did you do with the extra copy? That sort of presupposes that I have done that. I have done that. I do now have a list which I will take with me if I know I'm going book shopping. It isn't quite up to date, which is annoying. I need to do that. But I will probably remember what I've bought in the last 6 or 7 months. What I have been caught out with before is books that have been sold under 2 titles. So where a standalone book suddenly becomes part of a series, maybe gets a different name. Michael Moorcock, looking at you, I have been caught out before. And what I will do in that position is that if I've got 2 books that are exactly the same, I'm going to keep the better one and sell on or give away the worst looking copy. I don't think I may have a couple of books where I've got multiple editions of the same book, but it's not something I plan to do. If it's there, it's probably there by accident. Or I have the standalone book, but I also have something in a anthology, which is probably more likely. Prompt number 5, and I think there's more than one prompt hidden in here. Take 5 unread books from your shelf. Talk briefly about why you purchased them, price, collecting, part of a series, beloved author. Which of these books would you commit to reading within 90 days? What about the others? Would you consider unhauling the unread books? If so, where? Well, I've chosen my 5 books, and I think I'm hoping to read all of these in the next 90 days. This one I certainly will be. This is going to form part of my Victober list, which I'll be going through later this month. The Princess and the Goblin, George MacDonald. I bought this because at the time I had recently read another George MacDonald. I think I'd read Lilith. Really enjoyed it and saw that this was not an adult fantasy book, more on the children's side of things, but I just thought the cover looked absolutely brilliant. It was on a charity shelf, didn't cost very much money at all, and it's got some great artwork in it as well. Why wouldn't I want to buy something which looks even a little battered, quite so handsome? But Victorian fantasy is one of the prompts for Victober. This absolutely qualifies. This year I have, and last year as well, I have been reading a lot of Philip Jose Farmer. And I have one more book in his Riverworld series to read. I have been buddy reading this series. I read the first book alongside Aaron from Aaron Read a Book. Aaron read a book, and I've read the next 3 books, buddy reading them with Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads. This is I'm assuming the last one. We sort of thought book 4 would be the last one, and it turns out whilst that finishes the story, there was one more book to go. I love the Riverworld series. I think it's really expansive and inventive and just a lot of fun. Looking forward to this one. The next book is a new edition of some old stories, glimpses of the unknown, lost ghost stories, edited by Mike Ashley, part of the British Library Tales of the Weird series. I was given a Waterstones gift card by my daughter for Father's Day, and I had been struggling to find something new that I wanted to read, so I decided to go with something old instead, but also, something that's new to me. There are plenty of writers in here whom I've not read before. Firth Scott, James Barr, Percy James Brebner, Francis Xavier, Guy Thorne. There are some that I have read before, notably E.F. Benson, but there's a lot more that I haven't, so a chance to discover some writers new to me. And this will be quite good as we get towards the end of the year and traditionally the time for ghost stories. This next book I picked up in April. I will be reading some of it, I hope, but not all of it. Part of it I actually already have read. It's the complete Professor Challenger stories of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I've read The Lost World, but I've not read the others, but I really enjoyed The Lost World. And one of the books for a project I have for next year is The Land of Mist. And I need to get started on that project well before the videos start coming out. So I do hope to get to this in the next 90 days. And finally, a book which is going to be part of a group read coming up in November. So I will be reading this in the next 90 days, and allows me to plug the group as well. Greg from Ghost Readers in the Sky has convened some people to read Sir Walter Scott. And we're going to start with Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott. This book is part of a collection that I started to get when I was a teenager. It was from Marshall Cavendish. It was called The Great Writers, and every fortnight, possibly every month, a new book would come out with a magazine. So it's not the greatest printing you will ever see. There are no notes, there is no introduction, but you did get a magazine with it. I remember reading the magazine. I never got round to reading the book. The Great Writers series really did sort of cover everything from Geoffrey Chaucer to Catherine Mansfield. As long as it was in the public domain, I think they were quite happy to take it. And the series built up. They all looked like this, different covers, but the same design, and with a stuck-on picture as well. As I say, this is not the highest class of edition you will find, but to be honest, it's held up quite well for 35-year-old book. Ivanhoe itself is considerably older, but if you want to read Ivanhoe, let me know, let Greg know, come join the Voxer. We're starting in November, so I definitely will read this in the next 90 days. But the last part of that fifth prompt, would you consider unhauling the unread books? No. I will I don't unhaul. I don't do sort of massive purges of books. I will do something with the books I've read, but I will read the books first. I don't want to get rid of something I've not read. The only times I do that is, if I buy a job lot from eBay and there are a bunch in that job lot that I really don't want, I will probably get rid. If there are, but I probably wouldn't have bought them if that's the case. Sometimes you'll find something where you have already got a copy of some of the books that turn up in that job lot. I don't mind getting rid of doubles. I do mind getting rid of something I haven't read yet. Sometimes I will read something and I will gladly get rid of it. Sometimes very reluctantly, but I want to read it first to make that determination. Final prompt, tag other people, which I will do below. Thank you to Renee for tagging me, and until next time, bye.